Imagine, okay, imagine a world where the same company that makes the chip that's in your phone right now in your pocket, they also control the chip in your laptop and your car and even like your smart fridge.
Yeah, you're talking about basically every device you own.
Yeah. Sounds pretty wild, right? Like something out of science fiction.
Yeah, a little bit.
But with this whole Qualcomm thing, this news that they're looking at buying Intel,
Right.
that future might be a lot closer than we think. So today, we're going to really dive into this whole thing, why it's such a big deal, and what it could actually mean for, for you, for me, for everybody using tech.
Well, I mean, think about it this way. It's like finding out that, I don't know, the coffee shop down the street is buying like a semiconductor factory, just your average everyday acquisition.
Right, just a casual multi-billion-dollar deal, no biggie.
Yeah, exactly. But in all seriousness, this is huge, like massive news in the tech world. And the ripples, they're going to be felt everywhere.
Big time. Okay, so for anyone who hasn't, memorized the entire NASDAQ queue.
Which, should we have done that?
Maybe. Let's do a super quick level set. We're talking about Qualcomm.
Yeah.
Here they are, the undisputed kings of the mobile chip.
The brains behind a huge chunk of the smartphones on the market.
Exactly. And on the other side of the ring, you've got Intel. They've been the rulers of the PC world for, forever. They power most of the laptops, desktops, you name it.
The old guard.
Yeah.
Which is what makes this potential deal so fascinating, right? You've got these two titans, each dominating their own corner of the tech universe. And for Qualcomm to even consider absorbing Intel, it sent shockwaves through the industry.
Yeah, that Wall Street Journal piece we've got, they called it a bold gamble. And the stock market seems to agree. Like Intel stock, it shot up over 3% when the news broke.
Think about that. A company that might be about to get swallowed up is suddenly worth more.
Yeah. Investors are, betting on something. But then on the flip side, Qualcomm's stock dipped a bit. Almost like investors are like, are you guys sure about this?
It shows you the stakes. High risk, potentially huge E-reward. This is like high wire act territory.
Totally. So we've got these two giants, right, circling each other. Everyone's watching. And the big question is, what is Qualcomm's endgame here? Why even try a takeover this massive?
That is the million-dollar question. And to really understand what Qualcomm's up to, we need to look beyond just like where tech is now. We need to look at what's coming next.
So it's got to be more than just Qualcomm wanting a slice of that PC market, right? I mean, they're already killing it in mobile. This has to be, way bigger.
You nailed it. This isn't about getting a slice. It's about controlling the whole pie. Think about it. Every single thing around us is getting more connected, right?
Yeah.
More reliant on powerful, efficient chips.
Okay, yeah, I see where you're going with this.
Your phone. It's already more powerful than computers were, a few years ago? Now imagine that level of performance, but in everything. Your fridge, your car, your toaster. That's the future Qualcomm wants to own.
Okay, that's a lot of toasters.
Yeah.
But so where does Intel fit into all of this?
The million-dollar question. Okay, so remember those Snapdragon X chips Qualcomm's been making? The ones for those Windows on ARM devices?
Yeah, those have been, kind of floating around, right? I haven't seen them take over the world or anything.
Exactly, and that's where Intel comes in. Look, Intel's been going through some stuff, we know that, but they still have the infrastructure, the factories, all the engineers. It's what Qualcomm needs to go head-to-head with Intel on their own turf.
So instead of just testing the waters, they'd be diving straight into the deep end.
100%. Cannonball. And then there's this whole other thing happening right now. Tech consolidation. Companies merging left and right, these mega deals. Remember when Disney scooped up Fox?
Yeah, felt like the entire entertainment industry just shifted.
Exactly. This Qualcomm Intel thing, it'd be in the same league, a seismic shift in who holds the power. And usually when you've got fewer companies, well, that means less competition, right?
And less competition usually means
higher prices. It's like economics 101, but also kind of a bummer. One of the big question marks with this whole deal.
Right. Not exactly a win for everyone down the line.
Yeah.
But how does Intel factor into all of this? I mean, haven't they been struggling lately?
Struggling is putting it mildly. That $1.6 billion loss they reported, that's like buy a small island money, or at least a private jet. Then they lose Apple as a customer. Huge blow.
Yeah, Apple going with their own M-series chips. Total game changer. Suddenly, Intel's dominance wasn't so, guaranteed anymore.
Exactly. So you've got Qualcomm's ambition, you've got Intel's vulnerability, and this whole trend of consolidation, it's a recipe for, something. Whether it's a recipe for success.
That's the big question, right?
Yeah.
And speaking of big questions, let's not forget, this deal is far from a done deal. There are some pretty massive hurdles to clear.
Oh, yeah. And we're not just talking merging departments here. This is about integrating entirely different company cultures, totally different ways of doing things. It's like trying to mix oil and water on a massive scale.
This challenges facing takeover article, it doesn't pull any punches. First up, everyone's favorite, antitrust.
Right. Anytime you've got companies this big wanting to merge, alarm bells go off for regulators. Their job is to prevent monopolies, which, yeah, can stifle innovation, lead to those higher prices we talked about.
So in this case, like, would Qualcomm suddenly be able to charge whatever they wanted for chips because, boom, they're the only game in town?
That's the fear. And it's not just hypothetical. Remember that whole NVIDIA trying to buy ARM thing? ARM's the company that licenses chip designs to, well, everyone.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. It didn't go so well, did it?
Not even a little. Regulators shut it down hard. They saw it as giving NVIDIA way too much control, potentially hurting consumers in the long run. So yeah, that's a big hurdle for Qualcomm. And then on top of that, you've got the whole challenge of actually merging these two behemoths. This isn't like merging two software companies. This is Qualcomm, known for sleek design, trying to absorb Intel's massive manufacturing machine.
Yeah, that's a lot. Two very different worlds colliding.
It's like a tech startup suddenly inheriting a steel mill. Culture clash waiting to happen. You've got Qualcomm's agile, design-focused approach smashing into Intel's, shall we say, more traditional corporate structure.
Yeah, good luck merging those two. And then, of course, there's the elephant or maybe the wallet in the room.
Yeah.
The actual price tag. We're talking about Intel, a company valued at like, what, over $90 billion?
That's billion with a B. That's not exactly spare change, even for a company like Qualcomm. We're talking mountains of debt, potentially selling off chunks of Intel to make it work. This is the kind of financial risk that keeps investors up at night.
So, where does that leave us? What are we even looking at here? It seems like this could go in a million different directions.
You're telling me. It's a choose-your-own-adventure novel at this point. We could be looking at the birth of a chip-making superpower, or we could be looking at a messy corporate breakup before the ink's even dry on the deal. And for you, dear listener, well, these outcomes, they could directly impact the devices you use every single day.
All right, so let's imagine just for a second that, this deal actually happens. Qualcomm buys Intel, everything goes smoothly. Then what? What are we looking at here?
Well, this potential acquisition outcomes piece lays out some pretty interesting scenarios. Some are exciting, some are, well, a little less exciting depending on how you look at it.
Right, okay, so best case scenario.
Best case scenario, Qualcomm manages to integrate Intel, without everything exploding.
Yeah.
And you've suddenly got this chip-making superpower, controlling the brains of your phone, your laptop, everything.
Okay, so what does that even look like for, normal people? Like, are we talking faster phones, more powerful laptops? Or is this where that whole less competition equals higher prices thing comes into play?
It's a bit of a double-edged sword, right? On the one hand, faster innovation. Think about it. The same companies designing the chips for your phone and your laptop. You could have this seamless experience, data flying back and forth, processing power shared across devices.
So like my phone instantly syncing with my laptop using my phone's internet when I'm on the go, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. But on the other hand, less competition often means those companies can charge a premium for their products. So yeah, your phone might be blazing fast, but it might also cost you an arm and a leg.
Oof. Yeah, that's always the trade-off, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
All right, what else? What else is this piece saying?
They specifically call out Windows on ARM. Remember those Snapdragon chips we talked about? This deal could be the thing that makes them mainstream.
Wait, seriously? Like the end of Intel-powered Windows PCs as we know them?
It's not impossible. Imagine a world where your Windows laptop is as thin and light as a MacBook Air, but the battery lasts for, like, a week. That's the dream of Windows on ARM.
Okay, I have to admit, that does sound kind of tempting. All right, so faster, potentially more expensive devices, possible end of an era for Intel-based PCs. Anything else we should be bracing ourselves for?
One more thing, and this is a big one. The AI arms race. This deal could have some major implications there.
Okay, when you say AI arms race, you're talking like self-driving cars, robots taking over the world. That level of AI.
Well, all of that's on the table eventually. But think even closer to home. What's in your pocket right now? Your phone.
Yeah, always.
Right, and all those AI features you use without even thinking about it. Facial recognition, voice assistance, those targeted ads that are a little too accurate.
And don't forget all the spam calls that can somehow predict what you're about to say.
Right, all of that. That's all powered by AI. AI running on chips.
Okay, so you're saying this Qualcomm Intel thing could make my phone even better at knowing what I want to buy before I even know I want it.
Maybe. But here's the interesting part. This deal could actually heat up competition in the AI space. You'd have this new mega company going toe-to-toe with the likes of NVIDIA, Google, all the big players, and that competition, that's what drives innovation. We could see even more powerful, more efficient AI chips as a result.
And those chips would end up in our phones, in our homes, in basically every aspect of our lives. So
Yeah.
big potential for both good and maybe some not so good outcomes.
Exactly. This deal, it's not black and white. There are some real concerns about consolidation, pricing power, all that. But there's also this huge potential upside, faster innovation, a whole new world of devices and possibilities. It's honestly a little bit like watching a chess game, except the stakes are billions of dollars and the future of technology.
And, I mean, let's be real, the future of our lives.
Yeah,
Because tech is so intertwined with everything these days.
right. It's not just about circuits and processors. It's about how we communicate, how we work, how we live.
Exactly. So, as we've learned from our deep dive here,
Huh?
this potential Qualcomm Intel deal, it's massive, it's complicated, there are a lot of what ifs and maybes.
It's a real nail biter.
Totally. And honestly, we might not know the outcome for a while. But one thing's for sure, this is far from over. So keep your eyes peeled and your ears open, because the next chapter in this whole saga could be right around the corner. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll be back soon to break down the next big tech story.